Hello, credit union friends. Today we are diving in with Bradley Dyer Jr., Senior Business Development Officer for Credit Union of America. Hi, Bradley.
Hey, how are you, Julie?
Welcome to the BD Now channel. We're excited to have you here.
Oh, it's exciting to be here. So let me start off by saying congratulations on this channel. I think it's so cool, and I think it's a natural next step for you, Julie.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, you're one of our first guests. Whoop, whoop. So excited. Yay. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your role?
So as you said, I'm the Senior Business Development Officer for Credit Union of America. We're located in Wichita, Kansas. And besides serving Wichita and its surrounding areas, we also serve Great Bend, Pratt, Salina, and Hutchinson, Kansas. We're currently $1.5 billion in asset size and growing because we will be expanding to new territory this year as well, also in Kansas. And so more to come on that. But my job primarily is SEG relationships. We take care of onboarding new SEG members from the industries that we serve. And we also take care of maintaining and building on the existing SEG relationships that we have.
Okay. Well, when you and I were talking a few weeks ago, because you were last year recognized as one of Credit Union Magazine's 2023 rock stars. Congratulations on that. And I was asking you what contributed to your success. And you said, I stopped chasing SEGs. And so that's what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit about why did you stop chasing SEGs and what does that even mean?
Well, I'm going to take a quick pause for a quick shout out to a lady named Kim Money. That's the lady I report to. And she's the one that submitted my name to CUNA to become a credit union rock star. I am honored that they picked me out of all of the folks across this country. I was one of 25. And so shout out to Kim Money and shout out to CUNA for that selection. So the question is, why did I stop chasing SEGs? Well, I have to step back a second just to answer that. Back in the day, as most people will know, a credit union is birthed out of a specific industry. For Credit Union of America, it was the education industry. An educator started our credit union way back 1935, and we served only educators for the first 40 years of our existence. But as it goes with anything, there is growth. And as Credit Union of America started to grow and our charter changed, we started to find other industries that we could tap into. And so one of the things that credit union will do is that they start trying to tap into these various industries, and it looks productive because the numbers are there. And we had gotten to the point where we had over 100 SEGs. But while we had over 100 SEGs, there was something else that was apparent. Over time, you realize that you're not necessarily being as productive or as successful. So we realized that less than 40% of those SEGs were being worked. And in order for your SEG relationship to be successful, you have to work your SEG relationships. And so we got to the point where we decided we don't have the manpower and the resources to work over 100 SEGs. Why don't we just pare it down, find our identity? Our identity was education and healthcare, and then work that, give it a focus, bring it to focus and work it. So with that being said, that's the reason why we stopped chasing SEGs, because we wanted to be more intentional and we wanted to be more efficient and we wanted to be more successful.
What was your process, Bradley? So you came up with the identity first, and then did you just take your 100 plus SEG groups and put them through your filter? What was your criteria for choosing that list that made it through the funnel?
So I'll give some credit to the business development officer prior to me. That decision was made by her. And when I came into business development, I helped her pare them down, but she was the one who recognized that we were not as efficient as we need to be. And I agreed with her. So coming on, we started looking at industries that necessarily wasn't related. For instance, just to throw out something, not to call names, but Pepsi had a branch here. and we would probably visit them once a year and maybe once a year. And that was one of the criteria we look at. How often are we visiting them? Do they fall within a focus? It wasn't education, it wasn't healthcare. So those are some of the criteria we looked at. Anything that's not education and healthcare, not getting visited, not getting worked, we started. And some of them we liked, but just because you like an industry doesn't necessarily mean that you need to work that industry. We needed a focus. We needed an identity. We identified that and we went to work with it.
Was it hard for your board or your leadership team to let some of those relationships go, or were they fully on board with you with this process?
Our leadership team was fully on board with us because we recognized that it just wasn't as profitable as we wanted it to be. Let me give you an example. Sometimes you'll have SEG accounts, even in the SEG accounts where we had focus or that's within our identity. Sometimes you'll have SEG accounts where there's $25, which used to be the minimum deposit required amount. In an account, it's a savings account. There's no checking, there's no this, there's no additional products. It's just sitting there and it's sitting there for years. And so at some point you're saying, this is not beneficial to the member. It's not beneficial to the credit union. What do we do? And so I think leadership understood that we needed to pare this down with the focus I mentioned previously, and they were on board.
Fantastic. When you kind of focused on these two areas, how did that evolve any of your product or service offerings? And when you say you work the SEGs, what did that look like? Did you have criteria around that engagement?
I like the word engagement. That's the key. When we say work SEGs, the word engagement is really what we're talking about. You have to build a relationship with your SEGs. You have to have something to offer them. I usually say, take with you a shiny object. And when I say shiny object, I do want to say, I don't believe in gimmicky stuff. I am really passionate about partnership and relationship, which means, yes, credit union, if you become a member, Credit Union of America is going to benefit from that. But when you become a member, there will be plenty of things that you're going to benefit from as well. That is really, really important to me and to Credit Union of America. And so when I say the shiny stuff, something that's attractive that will benefit the member. So what we did was I started saying, we need to find things where it benefits that industry and the focus. As an example, we offer grants to educators. It's a big deal for us. The educator has to be a member of Credit Union of America, but we give grants out. We knock off discounts on auto loans. We do a unique kind of what we call cut rate lending for educators and for those in healthcare. And so those kinds of products that we know would benefit those people in those industries come to focus. And we take those shiny objects and we say, hey, listen, we have something that is going to benefit you when you become a member of Credit Union of America. This is a mutually beneficial relationship.
I'm curious, how many, so you're over 100, and so how many SEGs are you working with now?
We went and got the chopping board, Julie.
Okay.
We're down to 34. We're down to 34. We went down to 33. We added one last year. As I mentioned previously, we are expanding into new territory this year. So we're going to be adding maybe 2 or 3 more this year, but I'm not chasing SEGs. We're doing it strategically. And so we added one more because it was an educational institution last year. And the 2 or 3 that we will add this year are going to be USDs within the district that we're headed to. And so we're not chasing SEGs, we're just adding them strategically.
How has that impacted the quality of your membership? I'm curious about the outcomes of this strategy evolution.
So I think this is really the big story here is the outcomes. Let me give you an example. I mentioned that sometimes you'd have these SEG accounts that's sitting there with $25 and nothing, right? That doesn't do anything for CUA, Credit Union of America. It doesn't do anything for the member. When we started giving focus, we would identify a product. We would say, we want checking accounts. And historically, and you will know this, if a person has their checking account with you, the probability that they're going to do other business with you is really high. And so within January 1st to December 31st in 2023's calendar year, of all of the over 700 brand new SEG members that was onboarded, close to 70%, 69 point something percent of them have checking accounts with us. And so that was unheard of 4 or 5 years ago, but it just shows you when you find your identity and you give it focus and then you work it. And by working it, I mean digitally, electronically, by giving them your presence, showing up, offering different things, being a support, and letting them know we are partners. It makes a difference. And not only do we have over close to 70% getting checking accounts, we have over 40% getting loans with us.
Congratulations on your success, Bradley. I think this information is helpful to so many of us that are scrambling to try to add SEGs, scrambling to work too many SEGs, and just thinking about how you can focus and we can all learn from what you've done.
Yeah, and I will say, if a credit union has the resources and has the time to work a lot of SEGs, then I'm okay with that. But I do think tough choices and tough decisions have to be made. If you don't have that manpower, you're going to find that you're going to be more beneficial to the credit union and its growth if you find that identity and find that focus.
The other thing you're demonstrating to all of us is know the numbers, know your SEGs, know what the outcomes are of your efforts. And if you don't know, ask for reports and seek out that information.
Those reports are critical. It's important to check in with those reports and then build strategies around those reports to say, this is where I need to build, this is where we need to grow.
Well, Bradley, I think we can all see why you are a rock star. Congratulations again on your success. And as you know, you're part of the Beanie Now community, and I've had the opportunity to get to know you over the last several years. You know, we are all lifelong learners. And so as we end with the social spotlight, can you share who you follow, who inspires you, who you learn from?
There is a gentleman, there are a lot of people that inspires me. I'm easily inspired. Julie Ferguson inspires me. I love what you do.
Oh, thanks.
And the Now community, when I go to these conferences, I'm inspired by them, listening and learning. But as far as a social media spotlight, there is a gentleman that I truly admire. His name is Neil deGrasse Tyson. This is an astrophysicist. So his expertise is really the cosmos. And I am not big on side. I wasn't the greatest in science in high school, right? But there's something about this gentleman. I don't know if people will remember the name Carl Sagan, but Carl Sagan was a leading astrophysicist himself in the 70s and 80s and would do television shows and able to explain complex things with regular everyday language. That's what Neil deGrasse Tyson does. Complex things, not just as it relates to the cosmos, but just science generally, able to take, sometimes I listen to him and I feel dumb, but I also feel like, wait a second, I feel like I just learned something. So I love listening to him. Fascinating gentleman. He did a series on television. I think it was called The Cosmos, where he was just explaining the universe and life and us as human beings. And it just makes you feel more enlightened.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm going to go to Google because that is a new name for me. Thank you. And thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Bradley, for sharing your knowledge with us. We really appreciate you.
Julie, I appreciate you having me, and I can't wait to see your other guests. I'll be tuning in to the BD Now channel.
Fantastic. We'll see you all next time.